Channel Y. Channel Y. A South Asian Canadian channel.
Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.
The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media. Y Media. Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian Pulse.
Hi, I'm Amitabh Bachchan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
अब हर दिन सुने GTA का #1 रेडियो स्टेशन FM 91.9
Television. You are watching Channel Y. Channel Y.
Prime Minister, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be back.
Online, SouthAsianDaily.com. The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
This part of the program is brought to you by Midweek Newspaper, published every Tuesday.
Hello and welcome, Dr. Lewis. How are you today?
I'm great, Ramona. Thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely. It's Y Media Political Sensex, and it is the leadership election race. And I want to congratulate you for being the first candidate to get on the ballot. So that means you already submitted your $300,000, your 500 signatures. It shows you have a great, strong, and loyal followership.
Yes, I'm very proud of our efforts, and I'm very excited for the level of support that I've received so far.
Fantastic. So I want to give our audience a bit about your background. You were born in Jamaica. Your family immigrated to Canada. You have graduated with a bachelor's degree from University of Toronto. You have a master's degree in environmental studies from York University Schulich School of Business. You have a JD from Osgoode Hall Law School. You have a PhD in law from Osgoode Law School. You worked on Bay Street. You started your own practice. You ran for the Harper Conservatives in 2015's federal election in the riding of Scarborough Rouge Park. You didn't have much time to campaign because you became a candidate right before the writ. But then comes the 2020 leadership election, where your profile rose to prominence in the conservative ranks, essentially the national political scene. Despite having no political network, your followership grew because of your vision for Canada. You raised massive support with the conservative membership base in Western Canada and from social conservatives. Now you're an MP since 2021 federal election in Ontario. And now that you've been in the job for some time, what is your vision now for the leadership? And is it any different from the last leadership election?
Well, I want to see our country secure. I want a Canada where we're prospering and free again. And I want to bring back hope, unity, and compassion to our country. I want the Canada that I grew up in to be there for my children. And that means having a strong economy and making sure that we have jobs, and that the 80% of small and medium-sized businesses that employ the majority of Canadians, that they're supported and that they have an incentive to get people back to work. It also means having a strong environment. We need to make sure that while we develop, that we are good stewards of our environment, and that we leave our environment better for our children than what we found it. And so we need strong environmental policies. I also want to make sure that our freedom, our constitution, our charter is protected, and that the government is respecting our rights, our freedom of religion, our freedom of expression, freedom of conscience, and freedom of assembly. And those things are entrenched in our charter. And I want to ensure that the government is respecting those rights.
And so now when it comes to the environment, you've said that you'll eliminate the carbon tax, saying that it's a wealth tax. And so what is your plan for the environment?
Yes, I don't believe that the carbon tax really reduces emissions, nor is it's really punitive to those who can least afford it, the average person who has to fill up their gas tank, who has to heat their home. And so my plan for the environment is to work with companies to create environmentally friendly technology so that we can reduce emissions. Also, to change our behavior, so we're recycling more, we're conserving more energy in our daily activities. and also to incentivize businesses to find new solutions and to develop our own natural resources instead of relying on foreign oil and foreign production, where those countries may not have as good as environmental standards as we have in Canada.
And are you pro building pipelines in Canada?
Yes, I am. I believe that the pipelines are the most efficient way to transport LNG, oil and gas, and that it's essential that we build the pipelines, enrich our country, get our products to Tidewater. That would also assist in offsetting the 40% dependency that Europe has on Russian oil. 40% of European oil is imported from Russia. So if we can get our products to Tidewater, we will actually be enriching our country and be able to pay down some of our national debt and use some of those, the extra money that we're saving on the interest rates. Every day we're paying $141 million just in interest rates alone. We could rechannel that into having better roads, improving our healthcare, our education system, and our general infrastructure.
Yes, and you brought up the Russian war with Ukraine and the horrific images that we've been seeing since February 24th. What are your policies when it comes to security and our military?
Well, I do believe that we have to continue to make sure that our military is properly funded. I'm very concerned about our northern borders that we share with Russia because our Arctic is not well protected, as I understand from the military. Russia has 40 submarines that are with icebreaker and torpedoes on it. Canada has 0. So we have to make sure that we have the capacity to protect our Arctic. In addition, with respect to the Ukraine, I think we need to really engage on the ground and make sure that our humanitarian aid is reaching the people who are in most need of it. I was very supportive of opening up the visa requirements to people from Ukraine, and I'm glad that we agreed to do that, and that was a multi-partisan initiative. So we need to make sure that we're being compassionate and reaching those people who are in most desperate need.
And you've gone on the record to say you oppose Bill 21 that calls for religious discrimination. What are your stance if you do become leader and prime minister?
Yes, I believe that our Charter of Rights really entrenches the respect for religious freedoms. Bill C-21 is something that I believe that really encroaches on people's ability to practice their faith and to publicly have a public affirmation of their faith does not interfere with anyone else's rights. And for that reason, I would oppose the bill.
And what is your policy you've just released on protecting parents' rights and their views? What is that all about? If you can explain a little further.
Yes, it's very important. Many parents have indicated to me that at the municipal level, at the provincial level, that they're seeing greater and greater government encroachment on their rights to be involved in their children's lives. Some parents have indicated to me that their children may be contemplating life-changing medical decisions without and hiding it from parents, and that the school system and the government is actually facilitating that. And so I want to make sure that we have an overarching parental rights bill that will enable parents to have a loving role in their children's lives without governmental interference.
Okay, and now top of mind is inflation, affordability, home ownership. What are your policies on those?
Well, we have a $1.1 trillion debt. And as I said earlier, we're paying over $141 million a day just in interest rates. And so we have to be able to implement policies to get inflation under control. And that means we need to up our production. We are consuming more than we are producing. And with the stimulus spending that we've seen with COVID, there are many people that are unemployed, but we have lots of money in the economy, and we have not brought up production. And so that is leading to inflation. We need to up our production, bring down inflation, and make average living more affordable for the average person.
And do you have policies on infrastructure in Canada? I mean, like when was the last time that we were able to even invest in our infrastructure throughout the country?
Well, yes, transfer payments should look at creating a robust infrastructure. We need to address things like housing. In the Liberal budget, they planned 100,000 new homes. It's beyond that. It's the way that we relate to business that we have to change. We have to reduce the red tape. We have to allow developers to be able to build more homes. We also have to look at some of the policies that trickle down to the municipalities where we have high development costs. And so you'll see that transfer into new homes, the high cost of new homes. And so we have to find ways to offset that and incentivize businesses to take chances again, to cut the red tape so that we can start to build more homes and really get back to that dream, that Canadian dream of home ownership.
Yeah, so now I think the first challenge is to, win the Conservative leadership and also unite the party, right? From the East Coast to West Coast and Central Canada. What is your vision in bringing the party together? And what kind of a Conservative leader would you describe yourself?
Well, I would describe myself as being a leader, the first among equals. I see my peers, other MPs, as having an equal voice, irrespective of which side of the party they come from. And so whether you're a progressive conservative, fiscal conservative, libertarian, or a social conservative, we are one conservative family. And we need to have a party in which everyone, no matter what your ideological association is, that person has an equal voice in the party and has an equal right to advance policies that are in the betterment of all Canadians.
And when it comes to advancing policies now, do you identify as a social conservative? And if so, would policies be open to some of those debates when it comes to abortion and like legality of marriage between two individuals? Are those up for debate?
Well, I identify as a conservative, and I have social conservative policies also. I believe in pregnancy care centers. That is something that I think that is unifying. I believe in life issues, in advancing life issues. And I look from, come from the perspective of building bridges, starting from what we agree on. So there's so many life issues that the majority of Canadians agree on, like pregnancy care centers, like even Kathy Wagenthal's sex-selective abortion. The majority of Canadians agree that a baby should not be targeted in the womb because it's a girl, and that female babies have an equal right to exist as male babies. And so misogyny is something that the majority of Canadians agree that we should not tolerate in our society, whether it's preborn for a preborn baby or a woman living in society. So I like to look at what we agree on, what we have in common, and build bridges on that.
And finally,
I think you also asked the issue about equality of marriage. I would not change marriage laws at all.
Okay, good to know. And finally, how would you describe yourself differently from the other candidates in the race?
Well, I come from a background of industry. I also am an educator. I've taught in university, at law school. I ran my own business. And so I know what it is to create wealth. I have not been a career politician. So I've been an average Canadian. I've employed people. I've signed the front of a paycheck instead of only signing the back of a paycheck. I know what it's like for a family to be dependent on me for their job. And I know how important it is for Canadians to have the prospect of employment and that dream of being able to educate your children, send them to school, and have a nice home. Because I've been an average Canadian, and I've just not been a politician all my life.
And so any final words to our audience who are listening to you and perhaps, want to sign up for a conservative membership or are conservative members and how they can be involved?
I think it's very important that we recognize that only a small percentage of Canadians actually vote for the leader of a party. And the next leader of the party has the potential of becoming the next prime minister. And so it's important that we vote for somebody who embraces inclusion, who can reach diverse populations, who can go into the cities and reach out to new Canadians who share our conservative values and bring them within our big conservative blue tent. So in order to do that, if you are inclined to vote for me, you would go to leslynlewis.ca. That's leslynlewis.ca. Take out a membership. You have to be a member before June 3rd in order to be eligible to vote in this leadership race. And I'll be putting out some policies which I believe appeal to the vast majority of Canadians. And I look forward to meeting you all, and I look forward to your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lewis. All the best on the campaign trail.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Channel Y. Channel Y. A South Asian Canadian channel.
Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.
The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media. Y Media. Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian Pulse.
Hi, I'm Amitabh Bachchan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
अब हर दिन सुने GTA का नंबर 1 रेडियो स्टेशन FM 91.9
Television. You are watching Channel Y. Channel Y.
Prime Minister, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be back.
Online, SouthAsianDaily.com. The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
This part of the program is brought to you by Midweek Newspaper, published every Tuesday.